Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Larskfoot Crochet Afghan. Although I'm going to make it a blanket. Or at least a bigger blanket? I don't even know. Yeah, it just says 2 balls each, so I'm going to be doing a way bigger blanket than that. But, that is the pattern. I'm only doing 2 colors instead of 3 like they did. I don't think it's a big deal. Maybe it will be. So we have like white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black. Okay, I think it'll work. I don't know. I am not very good at crocheting. I'm not going to teach you how to do this because I don't know how to do this. I'm going to read the pattern and I'm probably going to find a video on how to do it and I'm going to watch that and then I'm going to do it. So the last time I did a crochet video, I got a nasty comment about how I didn't explain how to do it. Even though I never at any point in the video or in the description said that I was going to explain how to do it. But now I am explicitly saying it in the video. I am not going to teach you how to do this. I can't teach. And I definitely can't teach crochet. Like, I could teach someone to cross stitch. I fully believe I could do that because I'm very knowledgeable about cross stitching. Like, there's very little at this point that would be difficult for me. Like, yes, I don't know everything. There's no way. No. But, you know, I know what a full stitch is. I know what a quarter stitch is. I know what a half stitch is. I know what a French knot is. I know how to embroider. Like, I know all these other things. Crochet, I can do a double crochet and I can do a half double crochet, but I always have to look up to remember how to do them. Because when I'm in the moment under pressure, I'm like, is this a double crochet? Or is this a half double crochet? Like, I am not a master at this, so please don't go into this assuming that I know anything. I'm probably going to make a bunch of mistakes because I'm going to. Like, for instance, I already know I'm starting off wrong because it calls for a USK, which is 10.5 or 6.5 millimeters, and I have an N15, which is 10 millimeters. My understanding of what I was told for crochet is when you use a bigger crochet needle, it's easier. So I want to have an easier time. Also, I'm used to using Bernat blanket, which is a lot thicker than this, so it's easier for me. And I get cramps and my wrist hurts very easily when I crochet for too long, and I don't do like teeny tiny small yarn because that's too small. I don't like it. And then I'm over here not crocheting, cross stitching in very, very teeny tiny holes. So what do I know? I can hear Meat Morb. I don't know if you can. He's still stalking me and haunting me and all these things. Yeah, I probably going to make a bunch of mistakes. So go into this assuming I am not a master. I am not even an apprentice. I am below that. And we should be good. Okay, I'm gonna go attempt to do this.
Alright, so it is June 2022, and David, for the first time, watched the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He read the Harry Potter books and was a big fan. Okay, I read the first one and hated it, so didn't read anymore. That, like, you're a bigger fan than me.
By the standards of what a big Harry Potter fan is.
Oh, yeah, no.
But no, I think they're good books. I think it's good writing. I think they're well made. I think they deserve to be like, you know, like, I kind of roll my eyes at things like Twilight and 50 Shades, but I get it. Like, there's plenty of other things that, you know, pivot off of that style of writing, so how you can't really criticize it. But at the same time, I think that, like, at least the original Harry Potter stuff is pretty good writing. Mm-hmm. It's nothing absolutely stellar, but especially for, like, a child book, it's a kid's book, it's very well written, and it obviously pioneered a whole genre of, we're going to put people in houses according to their personality traits, and, you know.
Yeah.
So, it was, I don't know, I could ramble about the books if you really want, but I think we're supposed to get to the movie, right?
Oh, well, where I was going with that was, this is why I'm surprised he did not see Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh,
because
contraire.
he's a bigger fan than me, so I thought he would be, like, intrigued and would want to watch it.
And as a fan, and especially as a fan of Star Wars, I can recognize a cash grab from at least 300 meters. So no, when this came out, I remember thinking, that's kind of a clever thing to do. Like, let's explore the world of Harry Potter, because just like Star Wars, just like Star Trek, what's really interesting about the stories is kind of the world they created, and you get glimpses of this world, but there's so much unexplored stuff. So rather than retreading every single second that occurred between the start of Star Wars and the end of Star Wars, where some character looked left instead of right or whatever, let's explore the rest of the world far away from everyone else. And likewise, I thought this was going to be like that, because when I first heard about it, Fantastic Beasts, that's a great idea. There's all these cool creatures and, like, plants and various teachers who are eccentric about it. We hear about people whose job this is, kind of like Hunters, actually, in Hunter x Hunter, at the very beginning. And it would be cool to, like, see them, like, oh, yeah, we're tracking these people, and there'll be dragons or whatever. And I knew they'd probably somehow shoehorn in some action, because it's got to be a summer blockbuster. But, it'd be a cool way to do it. And then once it came out, I heard from a lot of people who liked Harry Potter that they were like, no, it's basically a Grindelwald thing. We're setting up the whole Dumbledore Grindelwald thing. It's a prequel. It's really more based around prequel, which, again, we're still stuck with the original cast and the original story and the original framework. We're not exploring the rest of the world and things that happened elsewhere. We're exploring what happened beforehand. It is literally the Star Wars formula. First we did the middle, now we're doing the prequel, and next we'll do 7, 8, and 9, and those will be afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
But don't worry, we'll have new directors by then, and they'll screw it up in new and exciting ways.
I don't know, I saw it because I don't remember if I actually saw a preview for it or if I just heard the title, but I was under the impression there were going to be, like, tons of mystical, magical beasts. And I was like, the Hippogriff was really cool in the original Harry Potter franchise. The skeletal things that you could only see if you...
The dead horses, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Dementors are supposed to be beasts or what.
I mean, they're still intriguing. Like, it's a magical thing. Like, I liked those elements.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, if this is going to have more stuff like that, I am all in. And then I went, and I was like, okay, yeah, like...
The first half of that movie is really good, and then it becomes... So, like, as I think I've rambled on this channel about many times, I feel like there's some code, or maybe just a pile of, like, ad-libs or mad-libs scripts, where, like, what do we need? Action summer blockbuster. Okay, so, what's the main guy's name? Newt. So Newt loses his, magical creatures, but then they find out that the bad guy, what's his name? Colin Farrell? No, his name. And just fills it in. And so
okay, Colin Farrell did great.
No, he actually did great, unfortunately.
I like Colin Farrell.
The twist isn't a twist. Like, the moment you see him, you're like, oh, that's the bad guy! Like, I think I've rambled about this with you at least. There's a recent season of Gundam that a lot of people really, really like. And it was like, oh, cool, a good Gundam. We rode one of those after a while, and I tried to watch it, and I was like, oh, they draw the bad guys like bad guys. Like, and that's an anime where you can really just, like, totally different art style, make them look like, wow, of course that guy's evil, and yeah, surprise, he's evil. And I feel like they did the movie equivalent with Colin Farrell, where there's maybe one scene where I'm like, oh, maybe he's going to be the one who helps them, and then they immediately go off the cliff and like, nope, he's evil.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe they're doing a double twist, and he's just going to be helpful, and no. And I already knew the twist at that point, so I knew to be looking for it, so maybe I'm a little oversensitive to it, but it just... I don't hate the movie for all that I'm ragging on it. It's a decent movie. It's just this back half is really... It's two movies. The first half is a really good movie, and the back half is, I would argue, a below-average movie.
Yeah.
If not actively bad. It's a lot of, like, why did you feel the need to do that? They have one moment of guts, which I will say I did not expect they would do, and that they actually make the little romance that they've been pushing. Oh, spoilers. For a movie that came out forever ago. Sorry. They actually kill the romance, because mind wiping. And I did not think they had the guts to do that. I would have bet, like, hard cash halfway through that movie that there was no way they were going to do it.
I mean, if you watch the ending credit scene,
I know.
You're kind of right, so...
Well, no, he just gets to make his bakery.
I mean, literally all of them look like the beasts that he encountered when he had his
No,
mind
I know.
wiped.
I mean, look, that's still way better and more creative than what I was going to give them credit for.
Okay.
Like, I know they still basically did it, but, like, that was a much more clever way than what I was expecting, given how incredibly paint by numbers the rest of that movie is. Like, oh, we're gonna have a fight scene. Oh, we're gonna have a moment where the bad guy decides. And, like, okay, so fight scenes have never been the point of the Harry Potter.
Oh my god, the action scenes in Harry Potter movies are terrible because, like, oh look, I can hold a wand and point it at you.
So it makes
like,
a little more sense at first in the books because you get to learn about the different spells. And unfortunately, it's something you realize as you start thinking about it more or on reread or whatever. But when you're first reading, like, oh, cool, new spells. But because, unfortunately, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with spells because it's like, well, they're the good guys, so they're not going to kill, maim, or injure any of the bad guys. But we taught them this spell that lets them, knocks wands out of their hand. But then it's like, well, if you have that spell, do you need anything else? And they never really, they kind of played with the idea of going deeper with it in the books with, like, duels and stuff, but eventually it was just sort of like, nah, not really. And then just weird magic stuff happens at the end because people are fated and magical wands and stuff. And it works because it's magic. But in the movies, it kind of worked because it was, like, tactics. Like, oh, Harry's up against the Dark Lord. He has to go hide and sneak around. Like, he's not going to just, like, roll up on him and be like, right here, right now, let's go. But this thinks that... this movie seems to think that the action scenes are interesting, and you have no context for what they're doing, no context for why it is or isn't working, because they're not even shouting the spells or using spells that you would recognize if you're a fan of the series, I think, he said the kind of fan. It's just, he's waving his wand, and they're waving their wand, and he's able to stop all their stuff, because he's so cool, and it's like, I feel like you should have at least gone a little into the world lore of, like, how is he capable of doing this to set up why he's such a big deal, and then make it a bigger deal when the good guys still defeat him by being clever and outside-the-box thinkers, because all the normal good guys have to be... I mean, they're basically stormtroopers, let's be honest. They miss every single shot they take, they do nothing of use, and they're there to fill the scenery. They just wear robes instead of white armor. Or the rebel guys in the background. Pick your mook.
Poison.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a shame, because, like, the first half of the movie is genuinely clever for the most part. It's a little, again, paint by numbers. Like, oh, look, it's a romance. Oh, look, it's another romance. This person...
Okay, but the romance between the sister and the baker, I lived for. That was my favorite of the movie.
And I mean,
I loved it.
It's not bad if you're not creative with everything. Executing well is fine. And I do think they execute the beginning pretty well. I could do without, oh, yes, you're the rebel in the ministry that's trying to do the right thing but is secretly... That was so...
Yeah, that was
really?
annoying.
Did we need that too?
Yeah.
But...
oh, yes, I got kicked out because I punched a mom who's abusing her children. Like,
yeah, or blasted her or
okay,
something,
we already thought she was a good guy. You don't have to force it down our throats.
Well, not only a good guy, but a rebel in a system that's become corrupted this summer in theaters.
Oh my
like,
God.
It's what? It's Bad Boys? No. What buddy cop movie is this basically? Is it Rush Hour? I feel like it's Rush Hour.
God, I love Rush Hour.
It's kind of
Don't
Rush
hate
Hour.
on Rush Hour.
No, the cops aren't corrupt in Rush Hour, but it's kind of Rush. It's like any other fish out of water buddy cop story where, oh, the cop has to get the eccentric character to just do things and help them, and they work together and they don't trust each other. And we need to pause.
Okay.
I don't know what this is.
He has a phone call. All right, so we're back, and I just wanted to say, like, literal, actual buddy cop movies, I really like. Like, Tango and Cash, Rush Hour, Lethal Weapon.
I think that's why...
I love buddy cop movies.
What was the...
True Detective,
Zootopia.
kind of. Oh my god, Zootopia!
I think that's half of why it did so well, is because it's the first half-decent buddy cop movie in forever. Mm-hmm. And it also happens to be an animated film, but, like, buddy cop movies are a great... they're really good for actors who have a lot of character, or for characters who are written to have a lot of character, because, you know, it's just two people bouncing off each other the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And you can be as cliche as you want, like most buddy cop movies are also paint by numbers, but it still works because it's all about the chemistry between the actors. And this is absolutely a buddy cop film. Like, it's a little bit reversed in that you were not... The supporting actor is the cop rather than the buddy. Whereas usually in buddy cop movies, it's either equal or whatever. But no, she's really a very minor part of the story. It's kind of a double buddy cop, because first he's the cop because he knows about the world, and the buddy is the poor muggle who's been dragged into this, or the nomad. I have no idea why they felt the need to do that, but that's a separate issue. I guess it's because Americans don't use words that the British use.
I mean, in my mind, no-maj makes way more sense than muggle. Because, like, no magic. I get it. Muggle. Like, smuggle? I don't get it.
I feel like there was an explanation in the books, but I have no idea if there was one. It does sound very British for what it's worth. But...
I don't know. It, like, pre-Harry Potter, if someone had been like, oh, that's a muggle, I would have been like, what the heck does that mean?
Well,
like,
yeah. That's kind
but if you said no maj, I'd eventually probably figure out, like, I could probably guess, like, no magic.
Yeah. Like
so, actually, maybe muggle is better to use, because if you accidentally use it in front of someone who doesn't have magic, they won't figure out that you're a wizard.
What's the sitch?
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. So, I'm rewatching Buffy while I'm doing other things, because it doesn't distract me, and I don't have to pay attention, because I know everything that happens. And Buffy walks in, and she was like, okay, so what's the sitch? And I paused it, and I turned, because David was behind me, and I looked at him, and he stopped what he was doing, and he was like, what? So I was like, does what's the sitch mean, like, situation? And he was like, yeah, why? I was like, so, like, Kim Possible, what's the sitch? What's the situation? And at this point, I think he was realizing, like, I have just had an epiphany, and he was like, yes. I was like, oh my god. All these years, I thought that was just their code word. Like, what's the sitch? Like...
So Liz thinks I didn't really react, but what I was doing was trying to remember every word she said so I could faithfully transcribe it and then immediately text it to our friends.
Oh my god, did you really?
2 of them anyway.
Oh my god, who? Robert and John?
Yep.
I hate you. Neither of them has texted me. They're not my friend anymore. They were like, Liz is an idiot. No. Like, okay, in my head, I was hearing, like, sitch. And I was thinking, like, stitch. You know, S-I-T-C-H. Like, sitch. I don't know what that means. And I didn't think to, like, Google it. I was just like, that's what they say. It's fun. Kim Possible.
Oh, look, Buffy's referencing Kim Possible.
No. I just heard her say, what's the sitch? And I was like, oh, she's asking what the situation is. And I was like, oh my god. Is that what Kim Possible was always doing? And then I was like, it is. And then I had to confirm with you, because...
Yes.
I say I have no shame, but clearly I am very ashamed of it.
I noticed, yes.
How red am I? My face feels really hot.
Just like a medium. You were redder when you...
When it happened?
No. I feel
oh
like
god,
I've seen
don't embarrass me.
Let's see, what story is this? Are they appropriate?
You better be appropriate.
No, I'm just, for the purpose... Nah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'll go check my dialogues later.
Oh my god.
We'll check the archive.
No! Alright, back to Harry Potter.
Oh, I can think of 2, but I am sworn to secrecy on them, so I can't comment.
Okay, you know, you gotta stop telling that to people. Like, oh, Liz and I have to watch this, but I'm not allowed to tell you why. That gives an indication of, like, something nefarious is going on, and that's just... No,
you're
or
just
something
horribly
gross,
embarrassed.
or something creepy, or just... No.
I think you're just paranoid.
I am not about it. I don't like it. You shouldn't do that.
I see.
No. If you're not allowed to tell people about it, you're not even allowed to reference the fact that you're not allowed to tell people about it.
I'm pretty sure most people would assume that's because you're just horribly embarrassed.
Alright, well, I don't want to be questioned on why I'm embarrassed. I don't want it to be brought up that I am embarrassed. And it would help if you didn't mention it like that. God, Devoted. Why are you messing with my D&D things? Don't ruin them.
I'm trying to close the thing with my foot.
That is not what you were doing.
I wasn't
That's what you just did now.
Yeah.
After playing footsie with my D&D binder.
So no Madge.
So ultimately, I do think Muggle is a better choice in word.
This tangent has been brought to you by Liz's Shame.
What's the sitch? Oh my god. What was the kid's name with the computers?
In what?
In Kim Possible.
Not Ron, obviously.
It wasn't Sitch, right?
No.
Okay. Like, I don't even... It's been so long since I've seen Kim Possible.
I watched it way later than most people, because I didn't catch every episode on TV. Alex swears by the Master episode.
There's a math episode?
Oh, we're gonna have to watch that.
I like Kim Possible. I'll watch all of it. I have not seen probably even half of it.
Oh, yeah, we should actually do that. Yeah, we need to do that. That's gotta be right after we finish what we're currently watching.
Wade. His name was Wade.
Yeah, Wade. There we go.
So I was like, if his name is Sitch, I'm going to be like, and then
No.
that wouldn't make sense.
No.
What's the
People
Sitch?
would have
What's
been
the
like,
Wade?
yeah, that's a weird thing for them to do.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, I have to Google it and find out.
So-
I have nothing.
Back on the movie.
I am nothing. It's
They had a
fine.
very clever idea at the start. Like, it has a lot of charm at the beginning because it's, you've got your kind of buddy cop situation where you've got one person who knows about the magical world and you've got some poor schmuck who doesn't, and he's trying to, like, catch his escaped Niffler, which is, of course, adorable and marketable.
I don't remember them really using that.
I didn't say that
in
they
the
did.
marketing.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I like it was it's actually I think a giant missed opportunity that's the first time I've seen that thing. I'm sure Harry Potter fans know about it, but like people who know nothing about Star Wars because they live in the steppes of Mongolia
heard of
in
Baby Yoda.
yurts. Yeah. So
That's because Star Wars knows what they're doing with their marketing.
Disney has a gazillion-dollar empire, but yeah. So anyways, oh gosh.
Wait, who does Harry Potter?
Uh,
Warner Brothers? Is Warner Brothers still a thing? I don't even know. I thought it became Disney. Isn't it under the Disney umbrella?
No, because Harry Potter Land is not a Disney thing, to my memory.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Warner Bros.
Oh, it is Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, I win. I'm
Seems
taking this as a win. The what's the sitch thing can be left in the past.
I was like, it's not Fox, is it? But yeah. So either way, on to the freaking topic. The Niffler escapes. It's cute. We get to see.
He's in the bank and he grabs everything.
Yes, it's very adorable.
I love it. And then it's even cuter when Newt catches him and holds him by his back legs and just yanks him up and down, and you see all the gold and jewelry falling out of his pouch. Oh my gosh, it was so cute.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Oh.
And then you get the introduction of the serious cop, who's too serious but good-hearted and blah, 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 who has the sister, and so now we've paired off our buddy cops with extra buddy cops.
I mean, that sister was one of my favorite characters. The
Oh,
sister
no.
and the baker were my favorite characters.
Yeah, they're not really...
So when she started flirting with him, I was like, yes, I'm here for this!
It's a little weird, because, like, she especially is pretty much just there to flirt with him. It's a cute thing. No, she has one good scene where she's actually, like, trying... Because she's also there, I forgot, to, like, know when her sister's in trouble. And then she does the scene at the end where she flirts with the bank manager to get him to go away.
get him out.
Or not the Makusa manager or whatever.
Yeah, in order to get everybody out safely.
But yeah, it was a little... But it was still well done, so who cares? Like, it's a...
I love that actress. She had just, like, a peaceful aura about her.
Yeah.
And she had the sweetest voice. And just...
For something that, like, again, I would normally be very critical of being painted by numbers, it felt sincere and well done. And, like, I was like, okay, that's good. But then we finally get to see all the different creatures, and that's really, really cool. But we have this weird side plot of new witches lady in New York, who, of course, beats her children and is angry because her wife's a witch or something. And maybe this is like...
Wait, what?
her sister was a witch, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, she was supposed to have a wife? Like,
No.
she hates witches and she's a lesbian?
No.
I did not get that.
Because she, like, maybe it's a seed for, like, later in the movie, or maybe it's a reference that bigger fans will get, but I felt it was very weird to give her this incredible hatred of her sister for being a witch, and then we never meet the sister. There's nothing about the sister. Like, I was wondering if she was supposed to be, and maybe she is, one of the the evil female, I think Lestrange, that we see later in the books or in the 4, 5, 6 movies. So I was expecting that, like, that would be why she hates witches so much, because, like, her sister was a horribly evil woman and did all these evil things to her, and so that's why she's so anti-witch, not just she's supposed to just be an evil person who hates things because she's evil. But anyway, she's beating her son. Surprise.
Well, she's beating, like, all of them.
Her son the most, though.
Well, in case someone is going to call us out on this, they're all adopted.
Yes.
This is an orphanage. They're not her real children.
No, I thought the son was actually her child. That was the only one that was her child, and she's the worst on him. I thought that was...
Oh, was he supposed to actually be her
I
kid?
feel like that's a
I
big...
fell asleep when we were first watching it, and then we didn't re-watch it from the beginning, and then I just...
And you've watched it before.
I have. I
And
watched
never
it
got
when
this,
it came out.
which tells you how weak this plot is.
I mean...
To be fair, it doesn't matter. That's kind of the problem, is who cares?
like, I thought it was immediately obvious, like, who the...
Oh, yes.
The orb thingy
obscural.
was. Yeah, the obscural.
Obscural, yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. I thought it was pretty obvious quite early
Oh, yeah,
on.
no, that twist also falls completely flat. Like,
I mean, the kid is a great actor, though.
oh, yeah,
like,
no, all the performances
I
are
believed
good.
everything he did. I don't know, like, it's
a lot of wasted talent.
The girl cop was flat for me.
I think it's how she's written, though. Like,
Is it?
I
Okay.
like, what's she gonna do with what you like? Her purpose is to be the stick in the mud to both sides of the equation,
it's just...
both her organization and the buddy cop pairing. So she's never gonna have any fun lines because her job is to, okay, I'll give you this one chance, or
Yeah.
So either way, she beats her possible real son. Again, I was wondering if there was any payoff to that. There wasn't in this movie. Maybe it's later. They have to name drop Grindelwald because he was the big name that we haven't wrapped up, and like that's when I think this is post. No, is this post first Voldemort? No.
Heck, if I...
I'm trying to think of my Harry Potter timeline here. It's been a while. This would have to be pre-Voldemort, I think, because.
No, Credence was Mary Lou's adopted son.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Then there's literally no point to any of that. So, either way, it's got this A and B plot. The A plot is we've got to find all the monsters and get them back together before humans find out about magic, because if humans find out about magic, they'll try to kill us all and there'll be a war, which is like kind of overstaking the movie. Like, I want to see fancy creatures, but what about war? Like, it's really a weird dissonance. And so they, of course, are running around trying to find all these creatures, which look cute and weird, and like all those scenes are the best part of that movie by far. Like any scene that's actually about the title. And then there's this weird, maybe they just couldn't think of a whole movie for it. I don't know. I feel like you just basically make yourself a magical oh gosh, it's a shame he passed away because they absolutely should have cast him as like a cameo at the very least. But the Australian guy who loves animals, who got yeah, I can't think of his name.
Oh my god, I love him.
Yeah, Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would have cried. I legitimately, if they had gotten him on there, I would.
Yeah, no, that would have been a great cameo.
Because he absolutely would have adored them.
But even if not like that, that's roughly your plot right there. Like, yep, we're making 3 Steve Irwin movies in Magic Land. Like, that should have been it. Or 1 even. But then it becomes about, child beatings and, repressed things. And don't worry, we, obviously foreshadowed this horribly scary creature earlier. And it was really unclear to me that the creature is a human. Because, like, the way he talks about it the first time, he's like, she died when she was alone. And I could not exactly tell if they turn into that thing and then die, or if it, like, comes out of them and then they die, or if it is them and they just can't live past 10. It really wasn't clear, in my opinion. And it didn't matter how clear it was. Oh, yeah, they killed the senator's son, and that didn't matter at all. And it's just... it's a standard case of Hollywood stake raising where they're like, well, we can't just have cool animals. We've got to have, like, this big thing. Well, we've written ourselves into a corner, but don't worry, one of the big animals can fix all this because we've, like, you know, foreshadowed a couple of really stupid MacGuffins that'll solve... Well, the bird's cool, but, like, oh, but we also have this venom that does the exact thing we need, and I can just give it to the bird, and the bird will figure it out. Granted, it's smart, but, like, I'm glad magic is that easy. So, I don't know. It certainly makes me regret that they couldn't have made something better. Because watching that movie, you're like, wow. Like, I was legitimately like, wow, this is pretty good for the first half. And then by the end, I was like, I have absolutely no desire to see the second or third because I realize that, you know, I can feel the producers meddling or something. Yeah. And that we've already done all the good parts. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I certainly don't feel like we're going to... Like, because, of course, we have to name drop that Newt's the brother of a hero, you know, and so... Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of maybe interesting connections to the original stuff.
See, and I don't give a crap about that.
Well, I was going to say, I read Harry Potter...
Not everything has to be intertwined and connected.
Well, no, I know, but, like, if you're gonna... I mean, since you're going to do a prequel, like, I read Harry Potter, like, 2 or 3 times, at least, over my life. Like, I didn't read them all back to back. Or rather, I read them as they came out.
Yeah, I get you.
In one sitting, usually. And then
you read them all later.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, I'll try these again. I was like, these are pretty good. You start to catch up on pick up on things and missed opportunities. Like, wow, you... kind of introduce all these houses, and it'd be really cool if you, like, ever gave any of them the limelight for a moment, but okay.
Gryffindor.
And then, like, I thought it would have been a really cool plot point if, like, hey, there's, like, a kid in Slytherin who's not a horrible human being. Like, yes, it turns out there can be people who you maybe don't like, but aren't legitimately evil. But
you can be cunning without being evil.
But by the last book, they literally lock the entire class in the dungeon.
I thought their class was always in the dungeon.
No. Literally, one of the plot points in the last book is one of the teachers go, lock all the Slytherin children in the dungeon so they can't betray us, because they're all evil. You know, not literally quite like that, but close. Like, and to be fair, this is nitpicking a book that wasn't, you know... It's a lot of feels like missed opportunity, which is why when you watch something like this, as a jaded... miserable Star Wars fan, it's like, oh, maybe this time we'll explore some of those ideas, or we'll go off over here, or we'll get to see this thing, and then it's just like, oh no, instead I got half of someone's passion project, like it really felt like the people who wrote the first half really cared about it, and half of some producers like, I'm gonna make so much money and get a promotion and move over to Disney.
Here's someone else's story, fit it into yours.
Yeah, like, I really do wonder... I've been rambling about AI all day, about how it's not as powerful as people think it is, that it is very powerful, but it's not as powerful as people think, because it's often overhyped. And so with that disclaimer, I really wonder if there's an AI that could just bash out generic Hollywood scripts. Like, how many variables do you need to fill in to get some of these generic plots where bad guy A or good guy A fights bad guy B, and, you know, what kind of, like, climax do we have, and what's the romance? Like, there's, like, 6 different types of romances, 5 different types of climaxes, and 3 different types of happy endings that lead into sequel bait. Like, just, it all feels so generic. And it's such a shame, because it's a really high-value production. Like, again... I think Colin Farrell's utterly wasted in it. He does a great performance, and it's just like, wow. Yeah. And then, massive spoilers for a movie that was forever ago that most people have already seen. They replace him with Johnny Depp, because that's the big twist, is he looked like the other guy. Because remember that thing they did in the first movie? Except they didn't even bother to call out Polyjuice Potion or anything. They're just like, people can change how they look now. Deal with it.
They didn't even do that. It just happened.
Yeah, and that's where, like, it was clever in the movie, because, like, oh, yeah, you could have picked it out. Whereas in this movie, you know he's evil. You don't know that he's necessarily that specific guy, because there's no hints, because that's not the point of the movie.
Yeah, like, I liked how they did Mad-Eye Moody in the original Harry Potter, because when he looked like Mad-Eye Moody, he would still do that tongue thing that David Tennant would do.
Yes.
So it was like, yes, same person, that makes sense.
Yeah.
With this, Johnny Depp and Colin Farrell completely different
personalities,
ways
actors,
of acting
yeah,
this.
and like, and
Which,
you
like,
never
I
see
get it
any
if
of-
he was acting, you know, like, okay, so as Johnny Depp, that's who he is. When he was playing Colin Farrell, he was acting. But, like, your average person, wizard or not, is not a great actor. So the fact that I saw nothing in common with how they acted kind of just killed it for me.
Yeah, and I just... Again, it feels just soulless. It's like, oh, but we want to do this, and we got Johnny Depp, so get him in there, you know? Like, oh, he'll be Grindelwald. Okay, well, we'll do Colin Farrell for... It just...
Honestly, I wish they had just done it, like, when they did, you know, like, the pulling away, instead of having him change actors, just put in his contacts, have his hair color change, and then they're like, oh my god, it's you. Because there are plenty of people, I take off my glasses and they suddenly don't recognize me. Like, you know, if I were to chop my hair, they suddenly wouldn't recognize me. Not everyone is that good with faces.
Given how important that person's supposed to be to the world, I think that would be a little ridiculous. It's kind of like not recognizing Hitler during World War II.
See, I don't know anything about Grindelwald. Like,
yeah, he's basically, I believe he's supposed to be like Voldemort's right hand, but there's also... okay, I apologize in advance if I get any of this wrong. I barely looked into it when it happened, and it's been a long time. So, to memory, Dumbledore mentions that when the original war happened, with Voldemort killing everybody, that Grindelwald was his friend at one time, I believe. I could be mixing this up with some other character.
J.K. Rowling came out later and was like, oh no, they were boyfriends, because he was gay all along.
I think that might actually be a case of truth. Because that's part of why I reread the books, because I was like, really? Were they? And of all the stuff that J.K. Rowling has said since then, which is demonstrably false, like with Hermione and whatnot, I could see that one of actually having been planned. Now, I'm still not sure that it was. It's been a long time. I don't remember what little parts of the story where I was like, oh, I can see that maybe, yeah, she did actually plan that. And maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But that one at least feels like it fits. Whereas a lot of the junk she said later, it's like, it's okay, you're rich, you can stop talking.
So what was this Hermione one you were saying?
I believe at some point, and okay, again, I get all this fifth hand, so maybe I'm not quoting fairly, but I believe at some point she claimed that Hermione could have been black because she never described her in the books or something. Now, again, I don't know how much is being taken out of context here, but I do know that Hermione is described quite vividly in the book as a little, I'm pretty sure, white British girl with red hair, which is...
incredibly curly red hair.
Yeah, like, or frizzy red hair or something. I forget what it is, but...
See, this is why I just love Rick Riordan, because he explicitly is like, this character is white. Yeah. This character is half Chinese, half Canadian. Yeah. This character is black. Like, he does not tiptoe around it and pretend later that, yes, I was absolutely...
Well, I mean, to be fair, like,
equal.
I think she just wrote a book, and to be fair, it's kind of a magic British boarding school, which, don't get me wrong, there should be more representation, and wow, I believe there was an Asian girl. I believe there were...
Wasn't Harry's first girlfriend Asian?
Yeah,
or at least was that just the movies?
No. She was even in the book.
See, but, like, these are all side characters.
Right.
Rick Riordan has main characters.
Well, no, and I was just saying, like, it's the whole, like, retconning your history.
Yeah.
Where you can't just say, well, you know, at the time I wrote it, like, yeah, I grew up in Britain, and, you know, yeah, there's not a whole lot of diversity in my life, and, well, maybe I'll do some new ones and we'll be more diverse. It's, no, I originally meant that! And, I mean, it's been really fascinating for me, and I already have rambled about the Star Wars thing and kind of tongue-in-cheek, but George Lucas did to Star Wars in many ways what J.K. Rowling is doing to Harry Potter, and it's been kind of fascinating to watch people cope with what me and my friends had to cope with, where we're like, yay! And then suddenly, no, what are you doing? Why would you do that? What have you done? And I think, in many ways...
They didn't use toilets originally. They would just go to the bathroom in their robes and just magic it away.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean... To be fair, I think the J.K. Rowling thing, due to the presence of social media and many other outside factors, has made it way worse than what Lucas did to Star Wars. Like, I don't think the guy was a great...
She could just, not send that tweet.
Unfortunately, that's a skill in today's age.
It's true.
Apparently being rich requires some sort of desire to always speak your mind on social media, when I feel like I'm already really good at not doing that, so if there's any corporation out there that would like to give me credit for something that someone else did and just have me shut up so you can all cash your checks and not have them talk on Twitter and ruin it, I have very reasonable rates. I'm just saying, let's all get rich here.
I like the way you think.
Or, you can let them have their Twitter account, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually wondering if at this point, if many contracts are written with, like, you will no longer be allowed to have a Twitter account. We will take your Twitter account from you. We will give it to people whose job it is to write your tweets because we do not trust you with that thing. And to be fair, like, with how society has become, like, it's very easy to mean well or think you're joking and just sink a whole thing anyways.
Oh my god, look at what happened to Lindsay Ellis.
Yeah, exactly.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like, just beyond that, like, the whole, like, one bad take because they're just drunk or stupid, or, like, maybe there's an area where they're not great, or just the complete lunatics that sometimes hit it. I feel like there's got to be an entire team at both any big place, but of course Disney, whose job it is to damage control Twitter. Like, no, you're not allowed to touch your phone. Like, this is the guy who's going to handle your phone from now on. Here's a play phone, have fun. It makes noises. The cow goes moo. Like, you can tell it all the things you want to say on Twitter.
Yeah, no, it's so sad how freaking terrible Twitter is. Like, God, that woman years ago that posted, like, when she was going to Africa, she was like, going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS, ha ha ha, or whatever. And it was supposed to be sarcastic. Like, it was supposed to be like, this is what a stupid white girl would actually say. Because she was there, like, as a newscaster or something. Like, she was there to actually help. And
I think she was just traveling. I don't remember if she was there to help.
Was it? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, okay. She wasn't there to cause trouble. That wasn't the purpose of her trip.
No.
But, sarcasm, very hard to detect in just text.
Well, I think even beyond that, I believe that a lot of people really like to, and like here I am spouting views on social media, really...
Signal flag. Is that the term?
Virtual
signaling.
Virtue.
There we
signaling.
go. I got. You didn't say it. I said it.
You said virtual.
Virtue signaling. That's what I meant. I'm getting tongue tied.
I see that.
You speak. I'm gonna have some water.
My point being that I think a lot of people really enjoy dogpiling on other people.
Oh, look how horrible this person is.
Like, here's someone who we can... It's the whole pillory concept from, like, the Middle Ages. Look, there's someone over there they told me was bad. Let's throw rotten fruit at them. Where they put you in the thing and you can't move in the middle of the town.
Pillory?
I might be getting my words wrong, but it's the idea of, like... And I don't know if it was actually practiced or if this is one of those things that wound up in museums and later like, maybe this didn't happen. But it was the idea that, like, if you did some sort of crime or something... and they didn't want to, like, execute you or throw you in jail, as a form of public punishment, they would lock your head and arms in these little stockade things, and you couldn't move, and then pretty much anyone could walk by and, like, throw rotten fruit. Like, they weren't supposed to, like, I believe, physically harm you tremendously, but they'd throw, like, fruit at you or other junk.
I've never heard that called pillory, though. That's where my confusion is coming
that's
from.
the word, pillory.
Like, I've gone to castles where they had real ones out there.
A wooden framework with holes for the heads and hands in which the offender was prisoned and exposed to public abuse.
How is it spelled? Pillory. Oh, okay. See, I'm thinking pillar, like a Grecian pillar, and I was like, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah.
Pillory.
So,
okay.
I feel like that's what social media has done, is you don't have to, like, we take everything, we don't, but a lot of people, and again, like, it only takes one person having a bad day to do it, will take something at face value. And then it's like, oh, well, so-and-so told me this person's horrible, and they're trustworthy, right? And then you, like, look into it, and it's like, well, no, that's not really, that's taking them out of context, or that's unfair, or they just want to use you as a stepping stone for their platform, or like, oh, well, now we can say that they're evil, and it's just a lot of emotional response with no, I don't know, like, having a discussion means that you're trying to, like, understand something more.
Yeah, you're listening.
you're both talking about something, trying to learn about each other, and maybe trying to learn about what you're talking about. And I feel like there's a lot of conversation that goes on, especially on social media, where the sole goal is the exact opposite of that, where you just want to gang up with everyone on your side and agree on things, whether it's what you all like or who you all hate. And to be blunt, when I was like in middle school and high school, I didn't always have a fun time either. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people enjoy picking on people. And this is just bullying in the digital age. You get to bully people as an adult by finding some stranger you don't know and saying mean, horrible, hateful things to them.
Well, and the fun thing about Twitter is you get to do it without everybody knowing who you are.
Which is weird because most people who do that on Twitter actually do everything in their power to let everyone know who they are, which is, I think, also a problem.
You are able to still do it anonimously.
Oh, well, semi-anonymously. That's a whole other thing. Anyways, the movie. It was a movie.
Are we going to watch the sequels? I haven't seen the sequels, by the way.
I mean, I feel like you need to watch Kim Possible first.
I am more excited to watch Kim Possible.
Way more interesting to me than... I mean, I'll watch them. Like, I'm kind of curious how far we can drag this through the mud. Because, like, again, anyone... Like, I feel like if you could get, like, the people who are running Marvel right now on this, or the person who wrote The Mandalorian... They could take one look at this movie and be like, oh, I can make you zillions. Mm-hmm. But instead, we've got the guy who rubber stamps things and goes, no, action film, boom! And, like, it just doesn't work. And, like, this is a killer cast now that I look at it. Like, you had Ron Perlman doing a voice.
That's right, the guy with his fingers that were bent backwards. That was so creepy.
And I'd love to know more about that, but okay, let's not talk about it. Like, you know, it just...
Yeah, it was super weird. I did not realize that was Ron Perlman in the theater when I saw it. And then we were watching it, and David was like, that voice sounds familiar. And I was like, yeah, it sounds like the guy who did Hellboy. And then David was like, oh my god, it is Ron Perlman. And I was like, is it? And I Googled it, and I was like, oh my god, it is! Like... He did a good job with that.
It's just like... It
was a really good cast, yeah.
It's a cameo, mind you, but, you know.
Oh, yeah, but still... I was so excited for the beasts. So that first half was spectacular. And then you get a little bit of the beasts later, and that's about it. Like, which of the beasts was your favorite?
I mean, they obviously kind of designed the Niffler to be fun and exciting because he's got the most personality of all the beasts in many ways. So probably him, but the little tree guy was kind of cute.
He was so cute.
The bird is obviously very interesting.
What was his name? Frank? Was that his name?
I think.
I loved that bird. He was so pretty.
The snake, the feather snakes are really interesting, and I believe...
Oh, that grow to fit.
Yeah, and what's interesting is they did a good job of, you know, to my memory, and again, I didn't grow up in Britain, so I don't know, Harry Potter has an interesting mix of, like, oh, some of the old myths are true, and just creative came up with it out of nowhere stuff. So, like, I don't know where the idea of a Dementor came from, but it's an interesting concept, and maybe it's based on some old British lore or myth or something else that I'm not aware of. God knows there's all sorts of, like, soul suckers throughout historical myths.
True.
But it's neat and creative. And then there's also, like, centaurs, you know, or more things that you've heard of before. Like, I've heard of a hippogriff. Like, and this did another interesting job of, like, oh, yeah, the Thunderbird is, I believe, a Mayan... No, not a Mayan. It's... Well, that's why he wants to release it in Arizona, because it's one of those Indian tribes that, or Native American tribes, I guess, that, I don't remember which one, but that worshipped, like, some sort of thunderbird creature that, like, brought rain and storms. And there's all sorts of really clever stuff going on there with, like, and I believe those snake birds are another ones that are, I feel like that's a myth that I've heard before. I don't know if the Niffler is based on anything real, if that's something they just created, or maybe that was referenced in, like, one Harry Potter book somewhere, and they're like, we're bringing that to life. But... you know, they did a really good job with it. And
I liked the white monkey-looking guy that he would see the most likely potential future. I wish there were more of him. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, I mean...
He just had the one scene.
I mean, like, with all of it, it's like, wow, these are some really clever ideas.
The Niffler got several really good scenes.
But he's there as, like, a comedic / marketing thing.
Which I would have preferred more of.
Yeah,
like,
no,
the
I know.
action stuff was not what pulled me in.
Yeah, no. And the cute action stuff worked really well. Or the animal action stuff worked really well.
Exactly.
Like, the giant whale rhino thing.
Oh my god, that had a crush on the baker or whatever.
That was a little weird
or like
way
the
to do it.
pheromones.
Or
like that.
whatever, yeah, that was a weird way to do it. But
watching Newt do that dance
Yeah.
and the noises, that was ridiculous. It was
was
secondhand embarrassment for me.
yeah, and they do a really good job with all of that. And so, again, like, I don't know at what age I decided I kind of started looking into, like, how do these scripts actually get made? What is the process? And it's kind of fascinating how many rewrites a script will go through. And I think I've said this to you before, and I believe I've said it on this channel before, but, like, the first Pirates of the Caribbean may be a rewrite of a Monkey Island script, which, like, there's a Monkey Island script, because that was a great game, but I never would have thought anyone would be like, this'll make a good movie, because all, 5,000 of us who loved it in our childhood are not a major demographic. Okay, it was more popular than that, but still. But, that was a good example of, like, well, we just kind of, if true, changed some things around, but if you've played those games, you can see how, like, oh, yeah, that would be that one, and that would be you, and that would be this, and they kind of broke one character into 2 or 3, and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I could see how that's like a Monkey Island script, because it's the same kind of... For anyone who doesn't know, Monkey Island was a game made by LucasArts, and it's one of those old adventure games that's kind of making fun of the crazy logic of adventure games. And if you know what an adventure game is, it's like where you grab a bunch of weird inventory items, and then you find out, especially in the old days, hours later that you forgot to pick up a pin in one screen that you couldn't see, and so now you're going to die. So Monkey Island was just having real fun with it, where, like, you're a pirate, but pirates duel by you, like, throwing insults at each other, so you have to have, like, rhyming insults to throw back at them to win. It has nothing to do with your sword fighting skill, or...
Vicious mockery.
Yeah, or, grog is what they all drink, but it melts metal cups, so you have to have, like, a bunch of metal cups on you to try and get the grog together so you can get it all the way to the jail and pour it on a lock to, like, break someone out. Completely illogical, logical nonsense. And that's kind of the first movie. So this, in reverse, feels like something that was maybe even partially shot. I wouldn't be surprised if they, like, changed directors or writers partway through, but I'm not going to spend the kind of time it needs to do that. And has a lot of heart, and then it's like, oh, yeah, someone stepped in, or they couldn't finish the movie, or someone quit, or there was some sort of politics in the background, and they're like, well, we have to finish this movie. Okay, action script 5, go.
Okay, but I love the original Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Yeah.
That first one,
Great movie.
loved it. I can't tell if you were being sarcastic just now or not.
No, I'm dead serious.
Okay.
It was a wonderful movie. I think the second and third are a perfect example of action script plot, go.
Yeah,
Like,
the sequels, but that original one, I love.
I know a lot of people who like the sequels to some extent, and my biggest disappointment with the sequels was I was like, okay, we're doing action, fine, all right, we're not going to get quirky fun, we're going to get weird fun and surreal, and it's going to get odd, and Jack goes from, like, a competent guy kind of hiding his competence in his incompetence and sort of lucky to a cartoon character, which I guess was kind of always the plan or something. Mm. But at the very end, we've got a pirates council, and we've got all these pirates, including the guy who used to play all the pirate characters as a cameo. And so now we're going to have the massive armada battle with all the pirates and all their different ships. And, like, well, this will be the part they're good at. And what do? They stand there on their boat and they look at the camera, and they don't have any of the other pirates get any cool fighter action scenes, because it's all just, let's watch the main characters fight. And it was such a letdown. Like, this is the one thing you were supposed to nail. Whatever. I'm rambling.
Was that when Will and Elizabeth were like, oh, marry us?
Probably. That sounds about the level of writing they were at that point.
Ridiculous. Like...
It's when there's the maelstrom and they're all fighting in the middle. But, like, they line up all the pirate ships and they line up all the East India Trading Company ships. And you're like, oh, cool, we're going to get to see all sorts of weird pirate action nonsense. And they just stand there and look intense at the camera.
I feel like that's when they were telling Davy Jones to marry them.
Probably.
And it was because they were fighting when it was happening, and it was so ridiculous.
I mean,
I loved the first movie.
Yeah. So it was Fantastic Beasts where to find them. It was a movie, so count 10.
Like, I don't regret rewatching it, but I just, from what I've heard, the sequels don't focus any more on the beasts than the first one did.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like the first one focused on them enough to warrant the title of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
I care just enough about the main character that it's like, well, I'd kind of like to see what happens to him, but the problem is I know it's not going to get better. Like, I care because I'd love to see how they're going to, like, continue his character and the beast thing, and, like, are they going to keep the romance thing around? Almost certainly, yes.
Yeah, of course.
But is, how's she going to adapt to his weird lifestyle? Are we just going to is he kind of joining them? Or there's, like, 20 routes out of this, and I feel like 15 of them are interesting, and I would bet money they're going to pick the 5 boring ones.
Yeah.
Like...
Probably. I mean, did the series actually end?
I have no idea.
Like, I remember, so, like, I Googled it. 2016 is when Fantastic Beasts came out. And I remember everybody talking about it. And then the sequels came out. And I don't remember people talking about them a lot.
No,
like, they did not blow up.
Well, so like, around this time... Okay, again, I knew a lot of people who were really into Harry Potter who got to go through the same pain, me and my friends did with the Lucasing of your material. And the first thing I remember is the play happened. And I remember someone who was a diehard Harry Potter fan telling me it's not very good.
Aww.
And I was like, okay, at least I know that you're an honest human being, because it takes a lot of effort to admit that something you care that much about is not that good. And
I mean, I had to listen to the live-action Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood movie.
Okay, to be fair,
I still
everyone
hate
expected
all
that
of
to be
you.
bad. Like,
I still hate all of you. Like, you watched it. I feel like there's a hole in my soul because of that. Hated it. And I didn't even watch, like, 15% of it. And I still am just hurt.
let the record show we were drinking and you weren't.
I was on my computer trying to ignore all of you, and it hurt. It hurts.
There are
It
movies
still
that are
hurts.
so bad they're funny, and to be fair, that actually isn't one, because it's sadly kind of like the Death Note movie. It starts out like, oh wow, maybe they're going to do this right, and then again, actually much like this movie, it feels like a thing that was halfway done, where you can tell that someone who was really passionate about this started it, and then some producer walked on set and went, what are you doing? This'll never sell. Let me fix this. Although, to be fair, I feel like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was doomed from the start. Like, there's no way... They wanted, as far as I can tell, to do one movie. There's no way you could ever do that story in one movie.
No.
Or even do a decent job in one movie. And they're certainly not going to let you end on some, like, cliffhanger sequel bait where, like, well, we just told this small arc. Like, if you want to see the rest, watch the film. Like, just, it's never going to work.
Just watch the anime. Both of the anime are infinitely better than that stupid movie. It was so bad.
It was.
It hurts.
So this has just been one giant session of childhood being destroyed. The jaded Star Wars person, the jaded Harry Potter people, and now the jaded Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood person.
It was so bad.
To be fair, at least that's the end of your series getting destroyed.
I hope so.
I don't... Actually, I haven't... Is that... Woman?
I don't look into it. Don't look at me.
Well, no, it was a woman who wrote all those, right?
Yes, it was.
Has she written any more?
I want to say she started something else, and it didn't pick up the way that
Full Metal Alchemist
did.
The whole lightning doesn't strike twice. Then.
Yeah. Also, I Googled it. I only know because I picked up my phone to Google Hiromu Arakawa. But I found absolutely nothing about the abusive mom having a sister who had magical powers in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
I swear to God, that's why she's rambling about it, because her sister, she says my sister was a witch at some point. It's like literally not a big plot point, because it legitimately feels like a plot point that got dropped. Like, this was
maybe that's what it was?
where it's like, this was originally in the script and important, and we'd already shot that scene, and then we decided to drop that whole arc. I could be wrong, but, I mean, I feel like I remember them saying that.
Okay, so she did Raiden 18 from 2005 to 2021. Hero Tales from 2006 to 2010. Noble Farmer says 2006 on. Yeah, The Heroic Legend of Arslan, 2013 to present, and Yomi no Tsukai, 2021 to present. I haven't heard anything about those.
I need you to try Legend of the Legendary Heroes.
I already started it.
Yeah, you just need to finish it.
Fine.
Maybe one of these days. Anyways,
We'll see.
after Kim Possible.
Which
Join us for Kim Possible reviews. What?
I was going to say after we finish Peaky Blinders, because we're on the final season.
Yes.
And then, oh my god, there's so much on our list. Wheel of Time is on there. I don't know how serious we want to watch it.
Moon Knight's on our
Ooh,
list.
Moon Knight is definitely
Moon
higher
Knight
on
is
the list than Wheel
closer.
of Time.
There's also the Obi-Wan show. There's also...
Yeah, I have no interest in that.
The new Miss Marvel, I've been hearing mixed things about.
Is there a new Miss Marvel movie?
Oh, sorry, not Miss Marvel.
Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel. Or what? The girl. The teenage girl one. Have you not seen anything about this?
I feel like I have, and I can't tell if it's Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it's always confused me too. But either way, that one, I've heard mixed things about it, but I feel like we should try it.
Movie or show?
Show.
Show. Okay, because I was thinking movie, and it totally threw me.
Wheel of Time... I have people who are waiting on me to watch Wheel of Time because they're like, I'm very curious what you'll think, because I never read the books. I've tried like 6 times. I can't finish the first book. I know it pioneered a lot of the things, and that's why it's like, I read this before, but if she messes with the pleats in her skirt one more time, and I know she's going to, I know that's how they like, well, we could make a show out of this, because you could cut out like 95% of this book if you just get rid of all of the skirt pleat smoothing or whatever. But I've tried, so either way, they're kind of curious how I'll react as a mostly unbiased control subject to what they did in the plot, because a lot of the people I know who like it are like, I don't even know how they're going to do this now, because they made so many major changes to certain things that, like, I don't know how this is going to work, and they thought it was stupid, but I don't know how it, plays. And I know Mom watched it and was, like, legitimately confused by several things, just like, was that a big deal or not? They're not acting like it's a big deal. I think it was a big deal. Or, that's the twist? Is that the twist? Is that important? Like, I may be misremembering or misconstruing some conversations there, but that was the...
She'll correct you.
Yes. Yes, she will. Sure,
Love you,
Kim!
What?
Sure, she'll listen to all of this. I sure hope she does, so she can mention situations to you next time.
Not situations. Sitch.
How do you spell that?
Okay, so situation is S-U... No. S-I-T... U-A-T-I-O... I'm not good at spelling bees. Like, let me type it, and I'll get it my first try. My groceries list. Ribs. Situation.
3 weeks from now.
S-I-T-U-A-T-I-O-N. So, what's the sitch? Like, I don't even know. Is it actually S-I-T-C-H like I was thinking?
Well, you said S-U.
Yes, the first time, because I was like, there's a U in this word, where is it? I'm not good at spelling these, honey. I feel like I've
Has anyone seen my U?
How do you spell sitch?
I did S-I-T-C-H.
So, what I said earlier.
Yes, I was curious.
So it's closer to stitch than situation.
I think I spelled it differently on the second time. Let me check that, actually. Let me just go to my texts here.
It's sitch with a U at the end, and the U is silent. That's all I have.
Yeah, I stuck with S-I-T-C-H.
Oh, when you were quoting the conversation to
Yes.
John and Robert?
Yes.
Screw you, by the way. Alright, we've been rambling on enough. I'm sorry.
We're currently in a Fahrenheit 451 culture sitch.
I hated that book.
I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. I think it's a very good book, but
I hated
I
it.
loved 1984, and then I was like,
read that
oh,
one.
I'm sure I'm going to love Fahrenheit 451 and what's the other one? Brave New World. And then I finished Fahrenheit 451 and thought it was interesting, and I just got bored of Brave New World and dropped it.
I hated Fahrenheit 451.
Why?
I don't want to live in that kind of world.
That is the point of dystopian novels.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Like, there were so many books that I had to read in high school that I feel like I hated them because I was forced to read them. Like Animal Farm. I understand that there's, like, political, socioeconomic, whatever stuff behind it. It's not just animals that take over, but I hated it. I didn't like... Oh, God, what is it? The pig head on a stick. All the boys on the island.
Lord of the Flies.
I didn't like Lord of the Flies. I understand, the idea that if we have nothing else, people are going to step up and be buttheads. Yeah, I know. You don't even have to be in that kind of situation and people will step up and be buttheads. That's just reality.
Well...
Like, when I read, I like to escape. I like things that make me happy, and none of those books ever made me happy.
I think I find interesting hypotheticals about how humans behave fascinating. I like reading, I have a book called The Ascent of Money, which is actually based on human history, how money how finance changed throughout medieval Europe, and the point of that story is that I also find it really interesting now watching modern markets, especially the crypto space, because it's kind of interesting since it's unregulated, sort of seeing certain patterns repeat themselves and whatnot. And so it's sort of a predictor. And likewise, 1984 I think is a really good book because it really makes you question what you would do. Because a lot of people like to think that they would always do the right thing, or I would do whatever, or I would do and it shows.
But until you're in that situation, you don't know.
Well, not only that,
I haven't read 1984, by the way.
It shows a very possible world of, this is how things could go. Maybe not exactly, but I could believe they would do this. Yeah, I could believe they would do that. Yeah, this is why that's bad. There's a lot of laws, or in the United States case, a lot of amendments, and the Bill of Rights, where some people don't, not some people, but some of those amendments and whatnot, I feel like people don't understand why it was written in the first place. And I think books like that kind of give you a window into a hypothetical reason as to, that is why I might want my life to be private. Because if it's not private, this is the sort of thing that could happen. And now I'm not saying that's exactly what is happening or is going to happen, but you can then kind of extrapolate backwards and think about those sorts of things. Mm. And so I thought it was a very powerful way to convey all that. But I also haven't read it in years. One was good enough. Mm. The movie's okay.
I believe you. I feel like this is the third time I've tried to do the sign-off, so David and I are going to stop.
Now let me tell you about the wonders.
The wonders of the world?
Maybe.
There are, 7 of them?
I was trying to think of something. Okay, I've been rambling about AI online for at least several hours now, so let me explain to you.
No. Stop that.
So what you need to understand is digital versus analog processing.
Save it for the next video. I love you. Save it for the next video.
She's silencing me. It's 1984.
It's 2022.
She doesn't get that joke because she doesn't know if I'm making fun of the book.
I know Big Brother. I know about 1984, but I haven't read it.
She doesn't know if the joke is accurate or not.
Whatever.
And that is the end of day 1 of Larskfoot Crochet Afghan. I got 6 hours and 25 minutes of footage. So, I guess I'll pull it this way, because I haven't finished, obviously, day 1. I didn't get nearly as much as I thought I would, but... Wow, okay, no, we're just going to fold it over, because this will never fit on camera. There we go. So it's velvet. It's so soft. But the thing I would like to point out is it stained my nails. I guess you can't really tell, but My nails have blue tints to them now. Like, I think I need to paint them just so it doesn't look so ridiculous. I also think this means I'm definitely gonna have to wash this before I give it away, because if it can stain my nails, it can probably stain a lot of things. Or maybe not. I don't know. These usually say if they can be washed, don't they? The care instructions on reverse side. Are they on here? No. Where are the care instructions? Seriously? Where are they? Washing and drying. Wash gently by hand in water. Do not bleach. After extraction of excess water, dry the article on a suitable flat surface. Do not iron or press. Do not dry clean. Ooh, I have to hand wash it? But I'm so lazy. Okay, well, that will come when it happens. And I'm tired. So, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz. I'll see you guys next video.